And joining us now is Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney. Raymond, you just held a press conference announcing the charges against Rex Heuermann. You arrested him yesterday after this decade-long investigation, but really all the work seemed to really happen in the last, 13 months?
Yep, since March of 2022, March 14, 2022. That's when we identified, or the defendant, Heuermann, was identified as a suspect for the first time, and that's really when we focused all of our investigative resources on him.
And what was the breakthrough in all of this case? I mean, there have been so many years where nothing happened. This task force comes together. Was it just different minds all coming together? Tell me what broke it for you. What broke this thing wide open?
Well, I mean, I think there was some, interesting evidence. There was great phone evidence that was developed by the FBI, which had developed two areas of interest in the area where it turned out the defendant lived, and another area where it turned out he worked. There was also a eyewitness evidence with regard to an individual who matched his physical description, being with the victim, Amber Costello, on the night before she disappeared, and also before she left. Amber Costello said, I'm going to meet this guy again.
Right.
So all of those things taken in conjunction with the hair evidence, the advancements in mitochondrial DNA, and then putting it all together, getting abandonment samples, not only from the defendant, but from family members, and then being able to compare some of that DNA that was left at the scene with the defendant and his family's DNA.
Did you have the defendant and his family under surveillance for this entire past year?
Not for the entire past year, but we, starting, once we developed him as a suspect, and then once we developed him as a suspect, we executed about 300, subpoenas, search warrants, and once we learned more and more about him, we ended up, with the help of the FBI as well as the Suffolk County Police Department, putting him on extensive surveillance.
And he was obsessed with finding out what you guys were up to.
Yes. Well, he had used a lot of burner accounts, a lot of fictitious email addresses. We were able to pierce that and link it back to him. And then we were looking at his searches, and he was obsessed with both the victim's family, as well as what exactly we were doing in our investigation. And when I first took office, I told everyone, don't, mistake our not speaking with the media with the fact that we're not doing anything. One of the biggest assets that any investigation could have is we have investigative secrecy, and that means that the targets don't know what we're doing and don't know how close we're getting.
I've got to ask you, the murders he is charged with committing all happened between 2007 and 2010. Do you think he stopped killing in 2010?
Well, as I said, this grand jury investigation has to do with the so-called Gilgo 4, those 4 young ladies who died between 2007 2010. They were buried in basically the same location on Gilgo Beach, and there's a lot of similarities in those crimes. That's what we're investigating. And that's, we've charged 3 out of the 4 murders. We still need to charge the Maureen Brainerd Barnes murder. We're going to continue to investigate that. And so that's what we're working on. But
I know that you're focused on that, but do you really think he just all of a sudden stopped killing? What you're describing here is a sadistic serial killer who really, got off on really inflicting horrible, horrible harm and killing these women, and then calling their family and torturing them and taunting them. Do you really think he just stopped cold turkey in 2010, or could he be killing and continuing his killing spree?
It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what I can prove. Right now, I could prove these 3. We feel we could prove these 3 murders. We are going to work on that last murder, and then with all of the information we've gotten with regard to the search warrants that we've executed in connection with the defendant's arrest, we're going to look at that information, and we'll follow the case and the evidence wherever it leads us.
You also just found out in the last few months he was using burner phones again and reaching out to sex workers again. Do you think he may have been planning another killing?
I think that it's pretty clear that since 2007 he was using burner phones and contacting sex workers on a consistent basis.
Ray Tierney, I have to say, I looked at the list of the sites that he was searching under these phony internet accounts and email addresses that he had. This is really dark stuff.
Yes. You know, when we investigated the case, we started the grand jury, and, you know, as I said at the press conference, it's a continuum. It's, you know, a balance between keeping the public safe as well as proving your case. You know, we decided to take this case down, you know, even though we still have more investigation to do, especially with regard to the Brainerd Barnes murder, because, you know, we did not feel comfortable without placing him under arrest for some of the reasons you stated.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.